We are diving straight into the critical chess match that's going to decide Super Bowl LX between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. And let me tell you, this game isn't just about talent. It's all about strategy, and there are some huge mismatches that could blow this whole thing wide open.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the immense pressure on the Patriots' young quarterback. Then, we'll get into Seattle's kind of unique way of creating that pressure. After that, we'll flip it and see the offensive power play Seattle uses to get those explosive plays. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together in the ultimate championship chess match.
You know, we have to start with what is, without a doubt, the single biggest red flag for New England heading into this game. It all comes down to protecting their quarterback, Drake Maye. Honestly, it's their biggest vulnerability, and it's not even close. 15. Just let that number sink in. That is the staggering, record-breaking number of times Drake Maye has been sacked this postseason. That's the most for any quarterback to ever make it to the Super Bowl. Think about that. No team in history has survived this much pressure and still made it to the final game.
But here's the kicker. The detail behind that number is what's truly terrifying for the Patriots. 11 of those 15 sacks, they came when the defense only rushed 4 guys. So this isn't about getting overwhelmed by some exotic blitz. No, it's a fundamental breakdown against a totally standard rush. That is a deeply, deeply concerning sign.
So, look, this isn't a fluke. The heart of the problem is a very young offensive line that has been struggling, especially on that left side. And the absolute nightmare scenario for them, they are about to face a Seattle defense that is brilliantly, almost cruelly, designed to exploit that exact weakness. So how does Seattle do it? How do they create all this pressure? Well, to really understand the threat to New England, you have to get how Seattle's pass rush works. It's unorthodox, it's brilliant, and it's all about creating chaos without taking huge risks. And this right here, this just perfectly illustrates the whole paradox of the Seahawks defense. They almost never send extra guys, their blitz rate is one of the lowest in the entire league, and yet they generate pressure on the quarterback at a top 5 rate. So how in the world are they doing that?
Well, they do it with brains, not just muscle. They use these things called overloads to just swamp one side of the offensive line. They're constantly moving their best players, guys like Leonard Williams, all around the formation, basically hunting for the weakest link. And they are absolute masters of simulated pressure, making it look like a blitz is coming, which just messes with the quarterback's head and forces him to get the ball out way too fast.
Which of course brings us to the million-dollar question for the entire Patriots game plan. I mean, if you can't block their standard 4-man rush, you have no shot. So what on earth can their coaching staff draw up to survive this thing? Well, they do have a plan. It's kind of this 3-part survival guide to slow Seattle down. First, you've got to neutralize those monster interior linemen with misdirection running plays, traps, whams. Second, you need to have those quick-hitting pressure release valves, like screens and draws, ready to go at a moment's notice. And third, and this is absolutely critical, they have to use extra guys, running backs, tight ends, to help their struggling tackles by chipping the pass rushers.
Okay, but the problem for the Patriots doesn't end there, not even close. Let's flip over to the other side of the ball, because Seattle's offense, it presents a totally different and honestly an equally dangerous kind of problem.
The key to Seattle's entire attack is this formation they love called 12 personnel. Now, on paper, it's simple. 1 running back, 2 tight ends. But it's the versatility that makes it an absolute killer. From this one single look, they can run or pass with equal effectiveness, and that puts a defense in a horrible, horrible bind.
And here's where it gets just plain scary for a defense. When Seattle lines up in that 12 personnel look, they use play action, faking a run to set up a pass, on a jaw-dropping 46% of their plays. That is more than 4 times higher than when they're in their more typical offensive sets. It's basically their go-to move. And the results? Oh, the results are devastating. When they run play action out of that formation, they are generating nearly double the yardage per play. It is the engine that drives their explosive offense.
So let's just focus on this number for a second. 13. That's the average number of yards Seattle gains every single time they run a play-action pass from that 2 tight end set. 13 yards per play is not just good, it's completely game-breaking. That's how you get those massive, field-flipping chunk plays.
And this creates an absolute nightmare for the Patriots defense. It's what we call a matching problem. So if New England puts out its base defense, bigger guys, more linebackers, to stop the run, well, Seattle will just burn those slower guys with deep passes. But if they play nickel with more defensive backs to stop the pass, Seattle will just run it right down their throats where they have a 58% success rate. You see? It's a total lose-lose proposition.
So you put all this together, and what do you get? You get the final, decisive conflict of the game. It is a true battle of philosophies, a clash of strengths, and a collision of weaknesses.
And really, you can boil this entire game down to what you see right here. On one hand, you've got Seattle's incredible deep passing attack, going up against a New England deep secondary that's been one of the best in the league. And on the other, you have New England's historically bad pass protection, going up against a Seattle pass rush that is perfectly built to destroy it. It's strength versus strength and weakness versus weakness. Classic.
As one analyst put it perfectly, you can't just dink and dunk your way down the field against this Seattle defense. It won't work. You have to hit big plays. You have to be explosive, and that, right there, is where this championship is going to be decided. Which team can create those game-changing chunk plays, and which one can stop them?
And yeah, it's true. The Patriots' defensive backs have been absolutely lights out all postseason. But this is a completely different kind of animal. They have not faced an offense that is this creative, this powerful, and this committed to generating those huge plays out of that specific 12 personnel formation.
So that's what it all comes down to. That's the final, tantalizing question. Can the Patriots' brilliant coaching staff scheme up just enough of a survival plan to protect their quarterback, or will Seattle's fundamental mismatches on both sides of the ball simply prove to be too powerful, too strategic, and too much to overcome? That is the chess match that's going to crown a champion.